Welcome back to our podcast, CRM, Chris Rankune Usiza podcast. Siyabonga ukuthi usibukele lapha ekhaya. Ungakhohlwa ukushare, ukulike nokusubscribe because kuyasiza lokho. Today sino Councillor Phiri again. Councillor Phiri is from Ward 105 Tshwane. Ikala la esithobeni ifike kusukhulumi ibambe idoropa ihambe iye emaplazini. So it's very huge. It's very huge. Welcome back, Councillor Phiri.
No, thank you, Pastor. The last time I was here, we had a frank discussion.
Yes, no, big time.
Yeah, nama views la pa YouTube. I saw the. I'm still leading there. Hopefully, Nali.
Yes,
we'll probably get to 2,000 now.
No, it will because you see what I like about you is that I don't even have to put patients on the scale. I can throw anything at you, and we're able to handle it. For me, that's leadership. That's very important.
Yes, as a leader, you need to be informed.
Absolutely.
So when you ask a question, you must open it so that a lot of people can get a better understanding.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and I deliberately play the devil's advocate so that I can poke you to push you to give more insight to the people at home. Because I think we have been introduced to a dispensation where people do no longer receive information, or information is no longer available to people. And that is one of the reasons why we had to come up with a podcast like this, so that we can go back to people and give them information.
Correct.
And I'm happy that you are one of the people that can really give an insight, can give more flesh to the skeleton in terms of giving information to the people.
Oh, no, thanks. I think the podcast also assists with getting a wide range of people who normally would not attend community meetings.
Absolutely.
Or public participations, who are at home, so have access to the internet, but are unable to attend those things. So it assists in reaching those people so that we give them credible information.
Yes.
Information about expatriated from the source, the credible source who they elected to lead them in the ward.
No, you're correct, Councillor, because you see, I always say the information, we must make sure we get it from the source. Because if you don't get information from the source, it gets distorted along the way.
Correct.
So, our first question, I heard that there was a meeting, I think last week or during the week, which dealt with demarcations. And I heard through the grapevine that Zikhobeni will now become one ward.
Yes.
And Zikhobeni had two wards.
It was divided into two.
Yeah, it was divided into two. It was 102 and 105.
Yeah.
And you are responsible for 105.
For 105.
And Councillor Mahapena is
102.
In 102. So, is that true? Is there something like that?
Well, the process of demarcating wards have started.
Yes.
As you know, every 5 years before local government elections, there's a process of demarcations.
Okay.
Those processes are informed by the number of voters.
Okay.
That's the first one.
Oh, yes.
They go to the IEC, check if a ward still qualifies to be a ward.
Oh, okay.
Because you can have Ward 105, but turn out there's only 8,000 voters.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't qualify to be a ward.
Oh, yes.
In a metro, there's a minimum number of voters that you need to qualify to be a ward.
Okay.
A minimum number is around 12,400.
12,400 constitutes a ward.
A ward.
Okay.
The maximum is 18,404.
Oh, 18,404.
That's the maximum.
Okay.
Now, if you go beyond the maximum,
yes,
you'll need to reconfigure.
Okay.
Take certain VDs, put them into other wards.
Yes.
So that you don't have a big, large ward that you cannot service the people.
I get.
Because the main aim of this demarcation and to be councillors in wards is to be able to service people. Doesn't assist to have 30,000 people, but you can't service them.
You can't service them. You can't reach all of them.
You can't reach all of them.
Absolutely, yes.
It's injustice to people who vote for councillors. So this process happens every 5 years,
Okay, yes.
a year before elections.
Absolutely.
There's criteria on what constitutes the ward, the number, service delivery issues.
Yes.
Are you, as a councillor being here, are you going to be able to service the people in that ward?
Yes.
But the most important one is the registered number of voters.
Registered number.
Yes, of voters.
So a ward or an area can have 50,000 people.
Yes.
But if only 8,000 of them have registered as voters, the demarcation board will view that area as an area that's not big enough.
Yes.
Because the number of the registered voters is 8,000. So it is important for people to register.
For register to vote. So much important.
So when people complain that this councillor is not available, and on the other side, you are responsible for a very vast ward, it is because people don't register.
That vote.
That's very important. And I'm sure niyezwa lapha ekhaya ukuthi uma uhlezi ekhaya uthi wena awuyorejistara for ukuvota. Ezinye zezinto ezisho ukuthi iward yakini iyoma kanjani ukuthi wena zange uyorejistara for ukuvota. So mababala abantu abarejistarile bathi hayi le ward incane bese bafaka nenye indawo phezulu, bafaka nenye indawo. Uthola iward like now abantu bayacomplain ukuthi iward inesokhulumi, inamaplaza, inedorobha, inezithobeni kancane, inanani kancane. But that is because maybe in one area abantu azange baregister bonke.
Correct.
Am I correct there?
You are very much correct. For example, in 105, if you check the population stats, that's 105, I think we're over 45,000.
Oh, okay.
But you'll find we have less than 15,000 registered voters.
Wow.
So it's a challenge.
Less than 15,000
Yes.
registered, Marasi 45,000.
There's
And-
many of us.
Once you start working, you are now responsible for the 45,000.
All of them, registered, non-registered, voting, non-voters, all of them, they need a service.
And one councillor must be responsible. No, that's so unfair. People, you must go and register. When they say register for voting, you must go and register so that the paperwork must reflect the actual situation on the ground.
Correct.
Yeah, because you become unfair to councillors. They complain ukuthi i-council alitholakali council 45,000 kanti uma nibekelwa lelo council kwabhekwa nje ukuthi abantu abayingaki abaregistereki.
Yebo.
So that's one important issue. Now kuye kube nama allegations ezisikhathi ukuthi hayi ANC, you know, when the ANC redemarcates, it is because they want this area, for instance in Zitobeni, most of the voters in Zitobeni would vote for the ANC.
Correct.
So they would say, no. The reason why this reconfiguration is done by the demarcation board, it is because they would want to win traditional white wards. For instance, in Bronco Strait, the Foster Park, Pester Park. So the allegation, the allegation is that the reason why redemarcation is done every 5 years is because the ANC wants to win all these wards. So they would want to take extension 10 in Zitobeni called Tunusa and merge it with Esther so that ultimately the councillor comes from extension 10. So that has been the allegation. But you are saying something different to me.
Yes. Look, there's basis of what constitutes a ward.
Yes.
One is those numbers.
Yes.
Two is the distance within the ward.
Okay.
But three, we need to remember the ANC is a custodian of most of these institutions, Chapter 9 institutions that came after 1994. And one of the bases or targets of the ANC it was to reintegrate society.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, apartheid used to divide society.
Okay.
There's always people on the other side of the road.
Yes. Special planning.
Yes.
Yes.
Who were townships. There were people.
Yes.
And there was always the other side.
Okay.
The suburbs and towns.
Yes.
Where most development happened back in the days.
Yes.
When the ANC came in, it wanted to interrogate, let's mix.
Yes. Yes.
So you can have certain areas meant for certain people.
Yes.
And have certain areas meant for black poor people.
Yes. Yes.
So they integrated the areas. So some of these words were designed to integrate
Yes.
Abathali in an area.
Oh.
So that we don't have separate areas. But definitely,
So that is also a requirement in terms of this demarcation.
yes.
Okay.
So that we don't divide people according to color and whatever.
Yes.
As you can see, there's a settlement in the east African town.
I read.
Yes, that's the
I saw a protest of the
EFF going there.
Yeah. I think it's Rietfontein, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. Yes.
Now, those people have settled somewhere.
Yes.
And they've decided that there's going to be a white Ongeta.
Yes.
But according to the government and the city,
Yes.
they'll belong to what 102.
Oh, they belong to what 102?
Yes. Whether they like it or not, they want themselves. But the what council of that area might be someone from Stowini or Rema Park. So it's integration.
Yeah.
Now imagine if they decided to form their own ward.
I don't think that responsibility lies with them.
Yes.
To decide to form their own ward. So this integration that we're talking about comes from an angle of inclusive development.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. That's what the INS has been seeking to achieve all this time.
Yes.
To include everyone in development so that when we plan and budget,
yes,
you don't find yourself budgeting a lot of money in exclusive areas saying whites are benefiting much. In the COVID, they're not benefiting. When it's what 102 in the COVID and TAG, the budget goes to what 102.
But then what happens to the fairness? Because I think there's a complaint, especially in affluent areas, your former white areas. And the complaint goes as follows. That when a budget is allocated to a ward, because these former black areas, which are underdeveloped, lack a lot of facilities and resources. Yes. This budget tend to be channeled, or the larger chunk of the budget is often channeled to these underdeveloped areas, to an extent that these affluent areas or former white areas are not maintained. The infrastructure that is there is not maintained. I think we've been experiencing around the city recently the street lights were never maintained. I mean, the city was dark, but I've seen that was the situation in Johannesburg. It's the situation in Ekurhuleni. I don't know if there was a caucus agreement to overlook the street lights. Secondly, the potholes. Thirdly, sewer. There's sewer running everywhere, flowing everywhere. You go to, in Good Friday, my two wheels were deflated by a pothole right in Silverton, where I did not expect it. So we are experiencing gradually the lack of service delivery that people were used to. So I think one of the reasons why you'd find the replay areas is because people are tired of municipalities that cannot render services that they are supposed to be rendering. And that's why you find areas like Orania and Replay, they are trying to mobilize themselves on the basis of people who are saying, we want to provide the service on our own because the municipalities are failing on their mandate. What would be your comment on that? What do you say? What do you make of the incapacity of the city to render services that legal they are bound by the law to render?
Look, one, we need to be honest.
Yes.
Needs of people are many. There's no limit needs.
Yes, not true.
What we need to develop, to grow, is a vast list of needs that we have as people.
Yes.
But the resources are scarce.
Okay.
Now, the city or any government will have many objectives to achieve.
Yes.
But only to find out that the resources to achieve those things are less. Now we'll need to prioritize. Now, with the history that we come from, the apartheid history, the apartheid government used to invest in what areas? We need to be honest. That's why you'll find like townships were left behind.
Okay.
And now it is because of that they had to manage the resources, but for their resources, they manage them using the skin color.
Okay.
Now, In our case,
Yes.
you come in, you're a democratic government.
Yes.
In Rema Park, there's a cart road, there's sewer, there's everything.
Yes.
There's 2,000 people living there. You go to Zukobeni, Station 8, there's 5,000 people there.
Yes.
There's no cart road, there's no electricity, there's no sanitary infrastructure. Yes.
Yes.
Now you have limited resources.
Yes.
What do? You keep on maintaining the leafy areas, or do you channel and balance, try to balance so that you go and develop those ones who were left behind back in the days?
Okay.
And that's where we are, because most of the resources that we have,
Yes.
the progressive government goes and invests in areas that were left behind. Now, it also affects these other areas who had those things in terms of maintenance and all these things that needs to be done. But what you do as government is try to balance and prioritize.
Okay.
Now, you can't keep on tarring and resurfacing roads in towns where else a person in Sokulumi doesn't even have a gravel road. You can't re-gravel. You'll need to take some of those resources and take them there for the next 4 or 5 years so that Nabo, they get a taste of what is development.
Okay.
Now, when you redistribute these things equally, I'm not going to be affected. Now, kumbule, if ukule udla kamnandi with a golden spoon in your mouth.
Yes.
When somebody removes it,
Yes.
akunikeza silver, you kubona ngathi akukendezela. But they are trying to balance what's happening in the country. Well, I think the issue of maintenance is one issue that we've been focusing on in the city recently. As you've seen, we've started with the resurfacing of roads. But if you check, most of the resurfacing are happening in areas where even since 2016, nothing was happening. Now, when you come in as a progressive government, you go and check those ones who've been left behind. You can't start with those who are already 2 steps ahead.
Okay.
In that answer, that means you're perpetuating inequality. That means inequality is going to go higher. Remember, South Africa is the most unequal state in the world. And that's one of the problems. And that's one of the challenges that we need to resolve as the country and everyone. Because if you have an unequal state, you'll have a crime-ridden country. Because unkumuntu funuya to the other side of the river. Now, so that people don't feel the edge to move to the other side of the river. But when so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we're a crime-ridden country.
Now, coming from the angle of this ones were 2 steps ahead in terms of development, if I'm to borrow from your words, the complaint from this ones is that, yes, our areas must be looked after because we are overbuilt, and when we don't pay for our services, the municipality is quick to come and cut electricity for us. The municipality is quick to come and cut water for us. Whereas on the other side, where the chunk of the budget goes, they're not paying for their services, and the municipality is not doing anything. So I think that is the challenge that these ones from affluent areas have. They're complaining that, we must receive a better service because we are paying for it. Those ones are not paying for it. So how do you as the municipality view that angle of issues?
No, you're correct. But we need to look back. Around 2010, 2012, we were still in Kongwe.
Yes.
The people of Zululand were buying electricity and paying for services.
Yes.
We used to queue, pay my office.
My office in. Yes, true.
Buy. If you did not pay, we told you,
yes.
People used to queue.
Yeah.
They had the free one every month. If you can afford, then before 10, you must pay a certain date. They used to do that.
Yes.
But there was a collapse of that system.
Yes.
Especially around 2015, 2016. People stopped buying because material lungisi box mal moshekila alungiswa la chisho and what. When I entered, I said we need to go back and so that people start buying electricity.
Yes.
And when people buy electricity, we'll be able to pay for other services because if they're unable to pay for a month and so.
Yes.
So there's been a collapse in that system. And that system collapse when they had to change metering box.
Yes.
Yeah. They can't wait for 15 days or 20 days to change the box.
Yes.
So we need to go back. I think the city was busy with that system. Yes, ababhrejile bazobachentshela ama-box.
Yes.
Abakolodayo basule iy'koloto sonke siqale phansi so that people start paying for ama-services. So I agree. There's been a collapse in that instance.
From the side of the city.
From the side.
So the city is taking responsibility that it has failed people.
Correct.
Because I want to add on that. You see, when it was still Kungwini here, services were affordable. And for no reason, when we were merged with Tswane, in fact, incorporated, because if you are merged, you are treated equally. When we were incorporated to Tswane, bills started increasing unreasonably to an extent that a town like Bronkhorstspruit and its townships, with a culture of pay, stopped paying because it was impossible to pay. I'm not going to mention the name of the business because I did not ask for permission. But there's one petrol filling station in Bronkhorstspruit, which I was involved in the case and I was assisting them. When we were incorporated to Tswane, that filling station normally paid a bill of about 20,000 a month. And with Tswane, 1 month only, they were billed 120,000. So they refused to pay that bill. And the electricity was cut off. But because at least they have money, they are a business, they were able to take Tswane to court. And immediately, Tswane went back to that 20,000. Now, imagine if it is you who do not have money. You will not be able to take Tswane to court. So it means there are a lot of such injustices which Tswane could not explain to people. There are a lot of bills which skyrocketed. But secondly, on what you are talking to, the issue of removing all debts. I'm looking for a proper term. Removing all debts, I think people will understand me. It does not happen to everybody. The council resolution that deals with that will give a bracket which says people with properties that worth, I think now the less than 100 and
Around 100,000 going out.
yeah, but in the township there's a new resolution because recently they removed those old debts, but a lot of people did not qualify because I think it's 140,000 of 100 and so in the township. It means your property must worth less than 140,000. So 140,000 house, I don't think even an old 4-room house in the township still worth less than 140,000. So technically, there might be a statement out there to say we are going to erase these old debts, but nobody will qualify because 140,000. What property? It's either a shack or a 2-room that will worth less than that. But once it's a 4-room, it's a 6-room, it means you will not qualify. So that council resolution has not benefited everybody. I was fortunate to be involved in one case. So it has not benefited everybody. So I think we need to go back and through you political representatives and make sure that the type of council resolutions that we take will definitely work for our people because it will not help to have a council resolution that says we'll remove this old debts. But in practice, on the ground, nobody qualifies.
No, look, you're correct. But there must be a start. You must start somewhere. It's like I say, most of the people who are not paying, who are not buying electricity from the other side of the river. I was to win because that's where the majority of Tua people live. Now, you need to start there so that you wipe off the debt. Remember, when you wipe off a debt,
yes,
it's a loss on your side.
It's a loss, I agree.
Now, imagine if you wipe up everyone's debt, and what's going to happen to the city? It might get into bankruptcy.
No, I agree on that.
Yes.
My question is actually not about everybody.
Yes.
It is about the quality of the council resolution. Because in that very same community that we're talking about, and Ratabi saying, when you say you are wiping off the debt for a property that is that is worth less than 140,000, you are unlikely to find such a property in the very same Zikoveni and Ratabi saying and Tax City that we're talking about. So the majority of those very same poor people will not qualify.
Now, I'm saying you have to start somewhere. I think
Okay.
that resolution was about the start.
Yes.
Let's start here.
Yes.
Wipe up the debt. Let's see how it affects our debt books.
Okay.
Eventually, if it did not work or it doesn't work, we'll see after a year that this resolution did not work. I think it will be proper so that we deposit another view,
Okay.
so that we can improve our rate collection. Because the main aim of wiping is to see how do we improve in terms of collecting rates.
Yes.
Now, if we still did not improve, that means we need to go back and review the policy.
Yep.
But you cannot just use a blanket approach
Yes.
without judging where you've started. I think that's the main aim. I think we will go back after we receive the report to say, look, this thing has worked or it did not work. If it did not work, we'll need to increase the bracket so that we see if we are able to collect those rates.
No, I'm happy about that. I think that's quite audible enough. But the other issue on the same issue, the other issue will be the manner in which they bill people. Khona bafowethu. Khona bafowethu. Abogogo abahlala bodwa. They are billed more than 1,000 rand, 800 upwards. I mean, if ugogo athola umndende with 2,200 and i-bill it's 800. Remember, in principle, there's this indigent policy, what.
Yes.
A lot of people don't qualify because they'll tell you the same story. Your property is worth this much. But that property, we are seventh. Now, our seventh, ugogo uthola grant. Now, it means i-bill yakho is 800, 1,000 rand. Now, itshwane kanti ibhila njani madoda?
Well, I think it happened, Uchi, they started using estimations. Yeah, I think that's where we got it wrong.
Yeah.
Because we really needed to get people on the ground to do really checkups. Say, this is how much they've used. Now, now what happened is that a lot of bill meter readers, they got dismissed. We no longer have meter readers, if you see.
Oh, so my estimates throughout.
Most of these are sometimes they'll say take a picture of your meter, send it there, but the bill say feeling.
Yeah.
Now we'll need to go back to getting real proper people on the ground, do real meter readings, so that we can get proper readings, not estimate. But majority of the bills are estimate. That's why when we have a question, they say letter E, a picture of your meter, come to the offices so that they can correct that thing.
Yeah.
I think that's where the challenge is. If we get meter readers, I don't think we'll have so many estimates like we're having now.
And that has been happening for a long time. I don't know what does it take. This wrong billing system has been happening for a long time. And I think they're leaving it at that deliberately. Because at least whenever no kile unga complain, papopi, you see, that's why people feel like they're overbilling this one so that they can make it up for this one who cannot afford.
But I think it's your responsibility.
Yes.
I always advise that every month, we're taking a picture of the billing of the meter with so that they can see the variation. Because if you don't do that, that means estimation will come on you. You're not taking responsibility of what you are using.
But how legal is this estimation thing? Because you see, if in your tele petrol, the garage, then when I uzi lapha una system yokumeasure ubheka imoto yami le uyibheka ukuthi yashayisa kangakanani uthi le yona le ingadla ipetrol 1,000 le. I think that's what the city is doing.
No.
Ubabheka umuntu ububi bakhe yabona njengami so ngaya lapha bangangidurela kakhulu ngimumbi khulu futhi babheka umuntu uso bafaka iprice.
No, like I said, it's a matter of resources, because when you get meter readers on the ground,
yes,
it's a lot of money coming out. If we have to,
in terms of the contractor that's doing that,
yes.
But then why does government need contractors? Because with these contractors, we know it's not value for money. We know it's not value for money. Government must just accept, and it's not even quality.
No, you are correct. But again, you must remember when this thing of contracting and tenders came in.
Yes.
Remember, if you don't have a mixed kind of operation with government,
yes,
the day they decide to put tools down, what happens? The city comes crumbling. No services around that. Now it speaks to that term of having too many rights on government employees.
Yes.
Now you need to mix some of these responsibilities as contractors so that whenever there's a labor dispute in the city, your services don't stop. I think it's happening even in the security sector in the city. They're enforcing some, but keeping some private. So avoid the situation where you have a protest or a labor dispute with the city, then our security don't aware is in that way. You know that those things happen.
Yeah.
So this kind of those balancing thing. Although they are only a private sector, but again you must remember South Africa as a country, normally laws why it affects a lot of things. Imagine if people decide the whole city, everybody works for the city, they go for a strike for 3 months.
But also these contractors, sometimes they don't pay their people, because there was an instance where the security companies of the city did not pay their people, and they were on strike. What I'm actually raising is that one of the problems that I have is that these contractors, they don't pay their workers a proper living wage. So that is why at some stage you'll have a situation where you have a contractor that is supposed to do meter readings, but the people don't do that because they are not happy. They are not happy. So I think we need to find a way of really balancing it.
Yes, we need to find a way.
Yeah,
I think we need to go back and look at our labor laws.
definitely. No agreement.
Because when they are too protecting, you find lazy people dragging their feet,
Yes,
earning big salaries.
absolutely.
The same complaint people are having that municipal workers and government workers, they're earning big salaries, but they're not working. They are very much protected by these labor laws
Yeah,
and unions. Then you'll find people in the private sector in contracting, they're not much protected, they're being exploited and so on.
yes.
And then there's that complaint.
Yeah.
So we'll really need to find a balance. South Africa is a mixed economy. We're always striving to find a balance in between the welfare state and the capitalist state.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. We're not an entire state that believes in socialist ideas where workers' issues are at the front. Even the capitalists in this country have a voice.
Yeah.
They have a concern. So as a country, we're trying to find a balance in those.
No, actually, Mbalula made it clear that the ANC is not a socialist or a communist movement. So anybody who wants to express those views must go somewhere to the SACP. But Councillor, I think on the other issues we'll come up with part 2. One that I just want to make a follow-up question so that it becomes part of this part of the episode is the question of this demarcation. What is going to happen as per a consultative meeting that took place at the sports center? What is going to happen? Will the part of Zitobeni, which is 102, and the part of Zitobeni, which falls under 105, constitute one ward? Is that the proposal put forward? And at what stage of the process of demarcation are we?
Okay. That we're at the first phase, the second phase.
The second phase.
Yeah, the first phase was consulting the municipality, councillors, and so on.
Okay.
The second one is to consult the public, like the meeting was planned.
Yes.
Now the set that's out, they call it the draft set 1.
Okay.
Yeah, they're showing you how the new what might look like.
Yes.
If there's any dispute, you put in writing. You dispute it, you have your input registered.
Okay.
Then they'll go and look at it. If it makes sense, they might come back to you and respond and do those changes. As an individual, most of my car, you can make those inputs.
Okay.
That's why that meeting was very much important.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was disrupted because people
it collided. Yes.
Because people needed to make an input to say, look, when you take this VD here, this one remain here because of these reasons.
And what was the reason for it to be collapsed? What happened?
I think there was lack of understanding of why the consultation. They think everything is done, it's a year, then they will want to do it in a force. You know, almost the mentality like that.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, into kumele sibachele yona emakhaya ukuthi le meeting ebeyikhona ye demarcation bekuzoconsulta umphakathi.
Yebo.
And umphakathi usesene chance yokuthi ungafaka ama views through abo emailing and so forth. By email demarcation board.
They even have the numbers and the emails of the responsible person responsible for demarcating these areas. Oh, the lady was there. She's the one who's responsible in terms of demarcating and so on. But you must forward in proper proposals with the reasons that makes sense, because one of the beds is that people must receive service delivered.
Yes.
It must not be political boundaries.
Yes.
Because if political boundaries, if we win a lot,
Yes.
but must go to win, this one gets affected in terms of service delivery.
I agree.
So yes, Trafset 1, it is Toveni all the way to Sokolumi and Langkloof.
Okay.
It's going to be Wat 105. Wat 102 is going to be across this river, Itate Masada, the other side of the N4. It goes all the way to Pretoria East.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's called Inffontaine.
Fontaine.
Yeah, you'll have Inffontaine Lapa.
Yes.
All the way to Pretoria East. Gonna be Wat 102. Okay. So that's the demarcation. Now, in terms of saying Ufunfag input, you don't just say full it out. Say no. We want to Prince Van Beek as a VD,
Okay.
part of Wat 105.
Oh.
We want Erasmus, we want Lech Place to be part of Wat 105. So that they check out those numbers. Like, if you remove them this side, we take them this side, still this is where you are. So you just don't use common sense to say, no, Sunum Tenwela.
Yeah.
Yes, but Councillor Pretoria East.
Oh.
It's not fair for them.
Yes.
Same thing as comparing eyes to when to say, look, this is Toveni, ikizima itime two, ikimana senahin.
Yeah.
But to cancel Munya Tolagalo, Munya Tolagala, Mazmo Angeko, Luana Tola, but just across Manzako.
Yeah.
Why can't we have one public rep so that we all receive information over Stala in the when Ewa? I think those were inputs the one passes to it.
Yes.
You see, Joe was fairless to win. I won't have been a competition because all of us we use the same roads, same entrances, same things.
Yes.
But we having co-reps. Now it may look like no, they are competing, they're not getting service, they're not getting service, but they're neighbors.
Likunanilwa ni makanse.
Hey,
Moba ni compete.
they compete. So you unite the township, then other things they'll come into effect.
No, Councillor, I think in Dabaye, demarcation is very clear. I'm very happy. We've got 2 more issues, but in Kauntas is Fagegu episode, part 2, the very same episode.
Right.
For this one, thank you very much, Councillor. It's been a very insightful. Yakabanguti nawe la pekaya. Kuna ma issues amanye bowezwe. Ngabondabe ni navosomanga. Hey phela siyafakelela ndo. Indaba mayikona sifaka ama spice. Futhi na uthole njengami nje mina nginamanga salam futhi ngiyahatsha. Ngikhamba ne6 card. Ngiyahatsha. So uma sizithola ku council, ayiziyazwakala. Thank you very much, Councillor.
Thank you.